Hello, welcome to our channel Typebook. We are Chris and Rose, INTJ and INFJ, and we are analyzing a variety of people based on their Jungian psychological type and their MBTI four-letter abbreviation. Today, we are taking a look at Kanye West, also I think now currently known as Ye. This is a re-recording. We had to pull down our original video because we mistyped Ye.
Yeah, and thanks to the person who brought this to our attention and who made an argument for us to investigate further. 3, 2, 1, go.
Our connection and just you being a friend, I need to show you my 2 tech companies and get your perspective on it. Because now I have friends that can give a perspective. Like when I would work on albums, I had other friends that worked on albums and they would give me their perspectives on it.
You want to do this?
We are doing it. This is part of it.
This is part of it?
Absolutely.
All right, beautiful.
Oh, well, I wanted to finish. The thing is, okay, you're going to ask me different questions, but I'm about growing and building and bringing the idea to life. So when I see you, I say, oh, this guy understands how to hire engineers. Where I'm coming from Hollywood, coming from press, coming from media, all of the guys, that so many of the guys that have been like voices and faces and talking heads, whatever, have not understood how to engineer product. And that's the reason why I was able to jump past everyone in the entertainment field and become, whatever the net worth is, 11 billion. I'm going to stop.
So immediately, I'm getting FE. His style, not physically, his style of engaging with the world is very FE. As in, like, he says, I need to know what this person thinks. I need to know what engineers think, what musicians think. It's like he's trying to garner a feeling from experts in order to make his vision as true as possible.
In this way, he strongly reminds me of Tyler, the Creator.
Yeah.
And I think that in the original video, we typed him as ISFJ. And we're going to speak here in a little bit why we did that. But I think most people argue that he is NE, and he is.
He is, yeah, absolutely.
In a very similar way as Tyler, the Creator. And in some of the other ESFJs we've typed, they are very in touch with that extroverted intuition. And I think this is a mistake that many of us make. Sometimes a function that's in the 3rd slot is so strongly identified with that it confuses people. So I think that's a good lesson to learn for all of us. If you think you're seeing a certain function and you want to instinctively make it the dominant function, maybe think, is it possible it could be the 3rd function instead?
Well, consider this. If you're a type that is widely associated with openness, why would things be hidden? Why would things you like, why would your interests and passions be hidden? And in the case of an FE dominant, why wouldn't they tell the world? Why wouldn't they try and share their ideas? Why wouldn't they try and get their intuitions out there? Because it's exciting, it's their idea, and they're feeling excited about it, so let's go.
Yeah, and they want to share it with others. That's kind of a very strong force.
Exactly, and that's what they like. If you can
Michael
share
Jackson.
your idea and it be loved and people be happy.
Yes.
And you can be successful from it too. I mean, yeah, you're doing very well as an ESFJ.
That's right. We've seen it with Michael Jackson. We've seen it with Tyler, the Creator. We've seen it with Stephen King. They all have a similar thing going on here.
Yeah. And before, when we did type Kanye, we never really fleshed out that manifestation of that part of the ESFJ, really.
Yes.
It's only really until someone suggested Tyler, the Creator,
Right.
that our ears perked up and we were like, huh, what's this then?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's really is the first instance of this manifestation, this flavour, if you like, of the ESFJ. So when we re-looked at him, I was arguing in the comments with this guy about Kanye being ISFJ, because we typed him as such when we looked at him last.
Right.
And for memory, we wouldn't put out a video if we didn't think we were right. And this person made their case, and they made the case so well that we did look at him again. And if we had not have had Tyler, the Creator, from a suggestion, then we might not have gotten this again for a second time. Let's go again. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm putting the whole black thing on my worth. Like, let's just see where I am on the scale of life, because that's a cop out for me to say richest black guy of all time, because that's feeding into the same, trauma economy that Black Lives Matter feeds into. That's why I love and respect engineers. That's the only thing that we really need to teach in school is engineering. We don't need to teach history. We don't need to teach anything that is subjective. It needs to only be engineering taught in school, and everything else needs to be recess. Nothing that at all, any forced subjective information is just to weaken and indoctrinate our species. And that's what schools do now.
As an engineer, I love hearing you say that, but to push back, history is not, the interpretation of history might be subjective, but history has some facts, and they're useful to give a grounding to the way you do engineering.
I don't 100% believe in anything, any concept of the future or any concept of history, because history was just written by the victors.
Yeah, that's
so.
Right.
If I see stuff happen on the day that later that day is reported wrong, so how wrong is something reported 1,000 years ago? And why would we argue about something that's not in the now? Because that's the only thing that everyone can agree upon, is that it is now, right now.
Yeah, well, you try not to make the mistakes of the past.
Okay, stop.
That's the usefulness of history.
It's funny how, extreme he can be. And
Yeah.
I suppose this is why they will never say ESFJ, but
Yeah.
this can definitely be a thing.
Well, I
where-
feel like it's proof of ESFJ,
Okay, go on.
because there's a little bit of an extreme way of thinking with those of us who have lower TI.
Yeah.
I think in some ways, to come at the balance in your thinking, you have to toss extremes out for one end or the other, and you have to weigh them in order to get the more balanced approach. So for
I think-
him, that's an extreme, right? Nothing should be taught in school but engineering. That just sounds dumb, but it's not dumb.
I think he's saying something of value, but at the same
Exactly.
time, it's a very low TI trait of not being able to juggle with thoughts. It's singular in
Yes.
some way. So,
Yes.
for instance, he says that history is written by the victors,
Right.
which I totally understand. I'd agree about that in a certain context. It is like interpretations of written history is, but then at the same time, if there's no history that isn't written by the victors, what would he say about black history? Because earlier on he also said that he didn't want to go into the narrative, aka the history about black people being victimized, being the richest black man, etc.
Yeah. Right. Well, like I said, I just can relate to this. I know what he's doing. He's entertaining extremes in thought to learn what he really thinks.
Yeah, and he's unashamed in it. Like
Yes.
this is like his thing,
And that's,
isn't it?
And that's the other, right, exactly.
He's adamantly and very vehemently, no,
Yes.
only engineering. But then he explores it through, And he does that work later on and redevelops. He's very like extroverted in his method.
Well, and what he just said, people understand the now. And that's kind of proving, in a way, his type. Because he's not afraid to put out what he thinks in the now. What he believes at this moment. Whereas I wouldn't do that. Because I know there's something beyond the now in my thinking. I wouldn't share the extremes in my thinking out loud until I have found the balance. But to me, that sort of proves his type because it's important to represent the moment. He's being grounded, in other words, in who he is in this particular moment.
Like right now, this is true.
Yes. And he's very grounded in this way.
Well, what is true, or feels true, what you think is true,
Yes.
can be incepted by both of those things, thinking and feeling.
Also, this interview is extremely interesting because we've typed Lex definitely as an ISFJ. And you can see the dynamic between them. Ye puts out his thoughts, feelings, whatever, but then you can see Lex is like, gives a little bit more to it. Because he's like
He's a little bit more
his-
restrained, isn't he?
because his FE is reined in by his SI. Whereas it's sort of the opposite way with Ye.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
The limited usefulness of
The
history.
biggest mistake from the past that we keep making is looking at the past.
Too much. Giving too much value to the past.
Too much value to the past. We are now. We are now. We are here. We are one species. We are one race. We're here. And it's time. And the leadership is changing because you have Elon as a leader, Ye as a leader, and we're the top leaders. We're more influential than the presidents.
So you're a human being with engineering challenges before you, with STEM player, with Parlor. What's the hardest thing in front of you on the engineering front?
That's the first sentence that any of our species needs to hear when they're born. You are a human being with engineering challenges, and I consider challenges to be opportunities in front of you.
Yeah.
Literally, like, let me see a piece of paper. I need to write that down. That's the beginning
That's a good line.
Okay,
of
stop.
our new species concept.
I think he knows he's outrageous,
Yes.
but like,
But it feels good.
it doesn't matter because right now it makes sense to him and he feels it. You can tell he's so
Yes.
like passionate
Yeah.
about what he says. I mean, like, now he's paused and he doesn't believe his own bullshit. He's going to write it down because it's so good.
Well, I said earlier about how people could mistake this for FI, but in a similar way, ISFPs are like this. They don't believe their own baloney,
Yeah, right.
but it feels good.
But they're riding that wave and it's
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
joyous.
Yes. And so I think it's so important that we understand that this is feeling.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, FI, yes, it's associated with being difficult. But FE certainly likes to poke the bear as well.
Yeah, and we made that argument in the original video, which we've taken down, but people don't want to see this man as a feeling type or as a... Well, they don't want to see him as this kind of type, like ESFJ or ISFJ or whatever, because he's so angry and, he's ruined relationships in his life. But it's like, yeah, well, feelings can do that to people.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, why are we so like overly analytical about it when it comes to functions? Anyone can do this. If you get ticked off at someone or you get angry, then yeah, you can implode your relationships. You can alienate your children. You can alienate your friends. If you feel something so strongly, then yeah, it can be used as something that's divisive or that can just tear things down.
Well, I'd like to know why ESFJs are considered to be
Yeah.
so, like,
Mousy.
one-dimensional.
Yeah, one-dimensional.
Why are ESFJs simply oh, you just accommodate everyone else and that's it.
And that's the argument against it, FE is harmonious, He can't possibly be FE or high FE because of, look at the trail of destruction he's left in his relationships or whatever. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah, well,
He feels...
it's the same thing with 50 Cent, who he also typed.
Yes.
ESFJ.
Oh, he's another one.
He's very similar to this guy,
Yes,
really.
he is. Yes, he is.
He's got an angry side. And guess what?
Yes.
He's got feelings. And
Yes.
feelings do incorporate anger sometimes.
Yes.
And speaking of anger, like and subscribe, otherwise my feelings will get hurt and I'll have to rage at Rose after this video.
Proving that you're not an INTJ, because we all know that
INTJs
you are emotionless
don't have
robots. Right, so, okay.
Exactly. Okay, let's go again before I upset myself. 3, 2, 1, go.
Institution. I'm gonna do the paper like this wide.
Yeah,
I'll put it in widescreen. This for Ridley.
Widescreen paper.
You are
TIism.
no. Let me like. You are a being with engineering
Opportunities or challenges?
opportunities. I'm sorry, I don't spell as good as John Legend. Opportunities in before you. I like the before because it can mean forward or before you. This right here, I've always said I'm the top 5 writer in human existence, but this right here is pushing me to like number 4 or number 3.
It's a good
Because who would you say is the top?
Again, the TI wordplay. We just love it. Did you appreciate that, Chris? Before?
No, I didn't. Explain.
Exactly. You don't like the TI wordplay humor. He said he loves the word before because it has a double meaning. It could mean what's before you. In other words, what's in front of you, or what's before you. In other words, what's behind you. So he loves that word for the different meanings it can have. Again, I hear that and I'm like, yeah, this is TI right there. Because I know that you don't necessarily appreciate this sort of thing. Many of us love words. We love the wordplay, just to put it simply. Anyway, let's keep going. I just want to point that out. Love it.
I like the widescreen thing.
Yeah, that made me laugh too. Paper, put the paper widescreen.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
It's top writer in human existence. We know who it is.
That's subjective. Who's that?
It's factual though.
Who's that?
It's like who's the top person in tech history? It's not subjective.
Wow.
There's a non-subjective answer to both of those. Both of those people have influenced 30% of our existence.
So the influence is the main metric of greatness.
Okay, one person,
Yeah.
30% of our language the English language was written by them. The other person, 30% of the products we use was led by them. So
30% of our language is written by Shakespeare.
And who's
then the product.
Look.
Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
You put Steve above like Elon's of the world? Because Steve is a designer, he's a designer and engineer, but he's a designer. He's a visionary in the design space.
Well, I would lean to him
stop.
because I'm not an engineer, right?
Well, this interview is just great.
It just shows him for who he is, really.
Right, but I'm just saying, this is a great type-on-type interview as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just to see the ISFJ, ESFJ interaction. I mean, you could tell Lex appreciates this guy's NE.
Yeah.
He appreciates it, but at the same time, he's always seeking further clarification, that the way his mind works. And yet, yay.
He's so much more nitpicky, isn't he? Like,
yeah, he is.
but what about this? Like the
But it
fact and
works.
stuff.
But they have a great dynamic. I think that there's a mutual respect there. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, he said a couple of minutes ago. He said that nothing but engineering
Yeah.
was factual. Now everything else was subjective. Now he's saying that someone else is not subjective.
Yes.
Like he's not congruent. He's not,
Mm-hmm.
but he's feeling it, and you can tell he's passionate and he's going with it. And
Yes. Yes. All arguments for high feeler type.
that's what I said 2 minutes ago. Now I'm saying
Yes.
this.
Yes. And that's why I brought up the point about how people would look at that and say automatically that it's FI, but it's just feeling. It's feeling. Again, it's looking at the whole type. It's looking at ESFJ with FE dominant. How that manifests.
Yeah, I mean, I think they said he was an ENTP.
Yeah, that's what everyone says they see the NE.
Yeah,
and so
but
they assume that
would
it's
an
the
ENTP
dominant. Right.
contradict itself within
Yes.
2 minutes? No. Because they have thought this stuff through. And that's
Yes.
their primary modus operandi.
Right.
It's not a fluctuating, oh, well, I feel this now, so suddenly it's not just engineering that's factual.
Right.
It's also
Yes.
this other thing. He's relaying
Right.
a conceptual idea that he believes in.
And he might take this away later and think more deeply about it. But he has no problem in the moment saying what he feels.
Yeah, I'm
no
sure
problem
if he watched
expressing
back
what he
this,
believes.
he'd probably think
Yes.
that he's talking a load of crap.
Or it might just give him pause to think about it more deeply.
But this is
Yeah,
his way,
this
you know?
This is proof. This is proof of the way his mind works. Exactly. To support our project, please comment, like, and subscribe. We want to encourage a dialogue in the comments, so substantiated disagreement is welcome. Check out the playlist for this type and our recommended video below. If there's someone you want us to type, please leave a comment for us. Or you can look into our fast track system to find out how you can get your favorite people typed sooner.